Hey, we're back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about college football, and we're going to have a couple of topics that we're going to be talking about, and we're going to kind of give you an overview of what we think is going to happen this season. So we got James Kirk, and then who else is our guest today? Say your name because I didn't do that last time, so we can do it.
Chase Lilly.
All right, we got Chase Lilly in here. So we got James Kirk. He was in the GOAT debate the last time. And we're going to have a part 2 to that some other time. But right now we're going to focus on this. So the first topic we're going to do here is we're going to talk about Heisman candidates. And they're going to tell us kind of their top Heisman candidates and who they think has a really good chance. And then I'm just going to tell you the two sources that I have today is from ESPN. So take it how you want. I don't really know. Looks like... I don't know who wrote it besides just the fact that it was on ESPN, so we'll take it with a grain of salt. Who knows what they are even basing it off of. But all right, so the first thing, James, why don't you go ahead and tell us kind of who you think is your number one Heisman candidate?
All right, well, this could be super biased, but I'm going to go C.J. Stroud just because of the way he ended the year last year, the way he came on. I mean, there for a while, everybody thought he was going to win the Heisman until Bryce Young did what he did against Auburn. And obviously the game against Michigan. But for the rest of my list, so C.J. Stroud 1. I'm going to go Bryce Young number 2, obviously the defending Heisman winner. I'm going to go Jackson Smith and Jigba at number 4. Will Anderson, number 5, Alabama. Is he an outside linebacker, Chase, or is he a DN? He's a linebacker.
Yeah, it says right here, linebacker.
All right. Yeah, I couldn't remember. And then, so that's top 4. Number 5, I've got Braylon Allen, Wisconsin running back.
Okay.
Number 6, I've got Deuce Vaughn, Kansas State running back.
All right.
Number 7, I've got J.T. Daniels, West Virginia quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Number 8, Caleb Williams, USC quarterback. Number 9, Bijan Robinson, which actually Bijan Robinson should probably be like number 5, but that's just where I had him. I kind of added him late. Totally forgot he existed, but then I just had him at number 9. But honestly, he's probably top 5 candidate. And then for number 10, I'm going with the sleeper. I'm going Jackson Dart.
Okay.
Quarterback. That's a good one.
All right, so then Chase, why don't you go ahead and tell us, see if you guys have any similarities, which I'm sure you probably have a couple.
Yeah, well, 1 and 2 are definitely interchangeable with C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young. I mean, it's really hard to argue that. It's a toss-up of who has the better year this year. 3, I'm definitely going to have to go Trayvon Henderson in there. I think he has a standout year. 4, I'm going to go Caleb Williams. I just think him getting a big addition over there at wide receiver, the transfer from Pitt. I just think they're pretty loaded over there.
Yeah.
5, I'm going to go Bijan Robinson from Texas. He showed a lot last year, and I just think he's just going to be stellar this year, depending on the line. Yeah, I agree. 6, definitely Will Anderson. He's arguably going to be number 1 pick out of the draft this year. I mean, if you watched him last year, it's no doubt he's a top 6 candidate. Jackson Smith and Jigba at 7. I just think he's going to get a lot of double teams this year. I don't think he'll have as great of a season last year just because, I mean, that was a historic season. I definitely think he sees a lot more double teams, and Marvin Harrison Jr. Might be getting a lot more touches in that conversation.
Right.
I definitely see Bo Nix from Oregon as probably my number 9.
Okay.
I think Oregon recruited well, and then adding Dan Lanning from Georgia's defensive coordinator, I think he's going to be. I mean, the recruits themselves just say it themselves. I think they're definitely going to be a very good competitive school this year. And I'm going to say AR-15 from Florida, probably my number 10. Ooh, Anthony Richardson? Yes, sir. Man. I think he's a real
he's a real sleeper in this one.
Yeah, I agree. He's pretty good.
I definitely see an upside with him.
So, who do you think, like, if you're going to pick one, all biases aside, because we're Buckeye Nation, all biases aside, do you think C.J. Stroud, like, obviously based on the season he had last year, he was incredible last year. Do you think this year he could honestly just be a runaway for Heisman?
Personally, I think it could be like a historic victory for C.J. Stroud, just basing on, you saw how much more comfortable he got in the offense throughout the year. I mean, there early in the year, the guy he didn't know where the hell he was half the time.
Yeah, the first couple games he was definitely struggling. I was kind of worried, but then he really put it on.
Yeah, and then he just totally evolved, and then with all the weapons around him, it's unreal. And one thing that's hurting Bryce Young this year is how much they lost last year with Jameson Williams and John Mechie.
Mm-hmm.
And he is the defending Heisman winner, so he's definitely going to be right there. But trying not to be biased, I do think C.J. Stroud could definitely be a runaway Heisman winner this year.
Right. What about you, Chase?
Yeah, I definitely think if C.J. Stroud wants to win, I think he definitely has to use his feet this year.
Right.
I think that's going to bring a big part to his game and open up a lot more for the Ohio State offense.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's kind of what gave Bryce Young the touch over him last year was just rushing yards.
Right.
I definitely agree with James about them losing Mechie and everyone, but they have another solid receiving core coming in. You got Jermaine Burton returning, and I think he's gonna be. He's gonna be a stud in himself.
Another guy to look out for is Jahmyr Gibbs, running back.
Yep, he's gonna be a baller this year. Bama's just always equipped with the next man up. I think they'll be fine with weapons. I just definitely think if Stroud wants to take it from Bryce Young, he's definitely going to have to use his feet this year.
Definitely watching games last year, I just remember thinking, dude, you got wide open space to run, just run. Like, nobody's going to touch you.
Yeah, and that's part of, him evolving.
Right.
You did see him start to take off here and there towards the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
He's just playing towards the end of the season last year. The confidence that he started playing with was just pretty unreal.
Yeah.
How much he changed over the season. So
he's definitely, if you're comparing him to Justin Fields, he's definitely a pocket passer, no question.
Oh yeah.
So it's like going from Justin Fields to then him. You think it's just such a change because Justin Fields would take off continuously and throw. So it was. It's definitely a difference in gameplay.
I think one thing that Ohio State fans aren't used to is a pocket passer quarterback. Ever since Urban Meyer, we've had a quarterback that usually it seems like it's been a run first, pass second type of quarterback with Braxton Miller.
Yeah, I was gonna say even Luke Fickell because he had Braxton Miller.
Yeah, right.
You had Terrell Pryor prior to that. So.
Yeah.
It's and now Ryan Day. He's an air it out quarterback coach. He's pass first, throw second. I think that's why Justin Fields had the career he did.
I don't hate that offense though. I don't hate the pass first, run second because I think I think there was definitely a few instances during Urban Meyer's run where his offensive play calling was too obvious.
Yeah.
Hey, let's run the ball, QB sneak down the middle or whatever. Not QB sneak, but
draw
QB draw right down the middle, and you're like, come on, bro. Everybody knows you're gonna do that. I think Luke Fickell is better, and he kind of I do think that when C.J. Stroud decides to run, it's gonna be a totally different game because he's just gonna throw them off. He can literally just slice up the defense with passing. If he actually chooses to run, he's going to make it so tough for defenses.
Yeah, I think the way he can throw the ball, I mean, that definitely opens it up with his legs. I mean, when he can air it out, I mean, if he can throw a ball 70 yards downfield and he's completing 70% of his passes, I mean, he's going to have room to run.
Right.
Yeah, him being a passer, I mean, that's just not even a question anymore after the performance against Utah and just the end of last year. I mean, he struggled. I mean, he didn't struggle. Our defense struggled against Michigan. That's why we lost that game. But I mean, he threw for over 400 yards that game. You know what I mean?
Right. And same thing against Oregon. I mean, he had 480 yards passing or something against them.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't even college, but have you guys seen the what is it that they do? It's like gridiron or something for the NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is that called again?
It's like the
Is it a show you guys are talking about?
Yeah, it's a show.
Yeah.
Is it like the Hard Knocks?
Yeah, Hard Knocks. So, just speaking of that, you know the guy, I forget his name. He was number 97 for Michigan.
Aiden Hutchinson.
Yep, and he was drafted by Detroit.
Yeah.
I watched that yesterday, and that dude is an animal. And I didn't even realize it. And, last year, just thinking about it, watching the training camp of him in the NFL, you just see how much of a beast he is. And I don't remember, completely what he did against Ohio State, but I know that that's probably the hardest person they probably covered all year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I hate to say it, but he ate us up. He really did.
All right. So let's go ahead and talk about the top 10 teams on the AP poll for the preseason. And again, this is from ESPN. I'm not sure if this is actually officially ranked since it's just preseason.
It's probably the coaches poll.
It actually is. I'm pretty sure it is the coaches poll. Okay. So, obviously, number 1, we got Alabama. Number 2, Ohio State. Number 3, Georgia. Number 4, Clemson. Number 5, Notre Dame. Number 6, Michigan. 7, Texas A&M. 8, Utah. 9, Oklahoma. And 10, Baylor. Why don't you guys go ahead and kind of tell me if you see any overrated teams, just basing off last year. Obviously, we don't know this year. And kind of if you know about who they brought in or anything like that. If you think that one of these teams is you don't know if, they're overrated or honestly if they're in a good spot.
You can go ahead, Chase.
So overrated, I'm not really sold on Georgia at 3. I just think defensively they lost a tremendous amount over there. They also lost the defensive coordinator, which that's not very easy to recover from.
Yeah.
I definitely think I don't see them being a top 3 school at the end of it.
Right.
Clemson, I'm still questionable on. I'm a little shaky about them. It depends how Ukulele performs this year. I think if he has a good year, I think that 4 wouldn't be out of the question for them.
Okay.
I know they struggled last year. Ukulele was very shaky last year. I think they'll be able to establish winning. I think he'll be able to recover over time.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely agree with Michigan at 6. They're going to be another tough squad to beat this year. I mean, they added a lot more on the offensive side with Ronnie Bell coming back. Him being healthy, I mean, that's a huge weapon on the outside.
Right.
Their defense, their D-line took a hit, but, losing both your starting defensive ends to the draft,
yeah.
It hurts, but their DBs are going to be more experienced this year. They were young last year. I definitely I definitely agree with Michigan at 6.
Mhm.
Notre Dame at 5. We're going to find out what Notre Dame has to offer.
Yeah.
Week 1. Obviously, we don't really know what they have coming in offensively. I mean, they lost quite a bit. Defensive-wise, I mean, they lost their best player. I mean, Kyle Hamilton, the safety. I think they'll still be all right back there. It's definitely going to come down to a trenches battle because both trenches will be experienced week 1. It's definitely going to be something crazy.
So just go ahead and say who is Notre Dame playing week 1?
They're playing Ohio State.
They're playing Ohio State.
Yes, sir. Week 1 at the SU or Ohio Stadium, if you want to call it.
That I got to be honest. I'm gonna go ahead and say Notre Dame is not going to be ranked 5th anymore.
I don't think so either.
And all these. I also want to say, all these teams that want to join the Big Ten. Like, honestly, I think it might be good for Ohio State because the more competition that is added, I honestly think they can beat any team.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's just you're adding more competition onto it, and it makes it so it's like they can. There's more diversity when it comes to the different teams. You're like, it's not the same team they're beating every year.
Right.
So, all right, James, what about you?
Was there anything else you wanted to add, Chase?
Yeah, actually I did. Utah being a top 10 team, I 100% agree. I think Utah is going to make a very strong case for the playoffs this year.
Okay.
They're a very strong offensive team. It depends how their defense recovers this year.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I ain't got nothing.
Okay.
All right. So, for 1 second, I'm pulling up the top 25.
Are you good?
Just making sure I get it right.
Yeah.
So, the one that jumps out to me is Notre Dame at 5. I mean, I'm not saying they're not capable. I mean, they obviously have dudes all over the field. But, I mean, losing an All-American safety. I mean, they just gained they just got a transfer from Northwestern, All-American safety. But when you lose a first-round pick, I mean, that always hurts at that position. And, I mean, first-time quarterback, first-time running back. They just lost their most productive wide receiver from last year. First-time head coach. I mean, at 5 is I mean, that's a bit of an overreach to me.
I'm going to say after week 1, they're going to be Monte Teo.
Yeah, I mean, I could see them in the maybe 8 or 9 range, but I think 5 is a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
I agree with Chase with Georgia at number 3. I don't think that they're what they are or what they were last year, obviously. I mean, when you lose that much on defense and your defensive coordinator, that's a lot to recover from. And, I mean, we'll see what Stetson Bennett's about. I'm not sure if I really buy his hype. I mean, that was an all-world defense they had last year that carried them to the national championship. And
yeah,
we're going to have to see what their offense is about. And they lost George Pickens. So, another one, I think Utah, they're definitely a top 10 team. I think they should be more in the 5 or 4 range instead of Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And let's see, I think Baylor should be ahead of Oklahoma. I mean, defending Big 12 champs, Sugar Bowl champs. I agree. Oklahoma, I mean, they're definitely capable. We'll see what they're about. New head coach, but I don't know. I feel like Baylor deserves to be a little higher.
Yeah.
Clemson, it's hard to tell. I mean, Dabo Sweeney's obviously a great coach, and they're always going to be talented, but it's just hard to tell what they're going to be like. 4 is probably fair, but I feel like that could be a little bit of a reach.
Okay.
But other than that, I think everything's pretty all right. I think Michigan, they're definitely top 10. I think 6 is probably fair. But,
Right.
I mean, this might just be me speaking out of hate for them.
Yeah.
That might be a reach. But, I mean, when you lose 2 first-rounders on the defense, that doesn't help. And they lost their offensive coordinator to Miami. So they lost quite a bit. But, I mean, they're always going to be talented. So.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, is that all for the top 10 then?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm just going to list from 10 on to 25. And you guys can tell me if you have any sleepers that you think maybe even outside of the top 25, which I don't know how possible that is, that you think will make a deep playoff run or make the playoffs that really they honestly have no hype. So we got Oklahoma State at 11, Oregon 12. Is it North Carolina State at 13?
Yep.
And then we got Michigan State, USC, Pitt, Miami University, Texas, Wake Forest, Wisconsin, Kentucky, Cincinnati, Arkansas, Ole Miss, and Houston. What do you guys think? I know the college playoffs are way harder than, honestly, like obviously harder than the NFL or anything because there's not as many slots and it's just so tough to make it inside of the college football playoffs. But who do you think, if anybody, not inside the top 10 has a chance to do that?
You want to go, Chase, or you want me to?
You can start it off.
All right. I think college football, to me right now, looks a little top-heavy this year. With
Okay.
Alabama, Ohio State, I mean, they're obviously going to be loaded.
Mm-hmm.
But, I think anywhere from the 5 to 15 range could be a toss-up with, it's hard to tell with USC. I mean, I feel like they could make a push just because, Lincoln Riley is obviously a proven winner as a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb Williams, Heisman contender. I mean, they've got all kinds of weapons out there now. And but I would say, I'm not sure this team is going to make a playoff push at all, really. But I'd say my biggest sleeper team to keep an eye on is Nebraska.
Okay.
I mean, they went 3-9 last year, but all 9 of their losses were by single digits, and that they had one of the hardest schedules in the country last year.
Mm-hmm.
And they just got a transfer quarterback from Texas who's a stud. Scott Frost, he's a good coach. They're going to be pretty good. I think they're definitely going to turn it around this year. And I think Cincinnati, they're always going to be pretty decent under Luke Fickell. I think they're ranked way too low at 22, is my opinion.
Yeah, what were they ranked last year? They were top 5.
Yeah, they made the playoffs last year.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And part of this doesn't make much sense to me. I understand Georgia being in the top 5 because they won the national championship last year. But if you're going to do that, you got to have Cincinnati in the top 10 at least by making the playoffs. Look how much Georgia lost.
Did they just not have a good recruiting class, or?
Well, it's Cincinnati. They're not as big of a brand.
Right.
They lost a lot with their starting quarterback, starting running back.
Right. Those 2 starting corners. Yeah.
2 starting corners.
They did lose a lot.
They took a big hit there.
But I would say if there's going to be anybody from number 10 to 25 that would make the playoffs, I would have to go with. Oh, man, this is tough. I'm gonna go with Miami or Wake Forest.
Okay. Yeah, Wake Forest has kind of been crazy the past couple seasons. You don't even think about them, and then they're just good.
Right, and they're returning. So much from last year. They're really veteran group. They could win the ACC 100%. And Miami adding a new head coach. I can't even think of his name right now.
Mario Cristobal.
Yeah, old Oregon head coach. And they just added a ton of talent. Whole entire new coaching staff. Watch out for them. Texas is incredibly overrated.
Well, you
But
don't
other than
like
that,
Texas?
what's that?
You don't like Texas?
I mean, I don't buy their hype. I mean, it's every year.
Yeah.
It's, oh, Texas is back, this and that. I mean, they have the talent to do it. It's just they just don't do it. I mean, I've got to see it to believe it. And
Yeah.
I swear, the last 4 seasons they've been top 25 and finished 5-7. But I mean, other than that, I mean, yeah, I would say that from 10 to 25, those would be my 2 sleeper teams to make a playoff push. Would be Miami or Wake Forest.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah.
10 to 25. I would definitely give Pitt. I just think with them already being ranked in the schedule that they have, it's not the toughest of schedules, but they have some ranked games that they could definitely be able to win. I know they lost their starting quarterback and their best wide receiver, but I still think that roster is pretty loaded over there.
Chad's Pitt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely think I don't think they'll make a push for the playoffs, but I think they have a shot to be a top 10 team. It just by seeing their schedule, I just don't think it's the toughest.
Right.
Honestly, I think Wisconsin makes a strong push. Obviously, if they make it through, they have to. They're gonna have to play Ohio State in the conference championship, which I think that might be a very good game. I know they play early in the season. We're gonna see what that's really all about. The Wisconsin hype. I definitely think Wisconsin has a good enough roster to be able to compete. I definitely think they have a shot at a playoff run.
I will add real quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
This year's Wisconsin team reminds me a lot of the Connor Keck Michigan State team that won the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
But go ahead. I just started to interrupt.
I agree. Honestly, I think USC, yeah, they have a lot. I think they can make a push for the playoffs. I'm not completely bought in on them yet. I with it being a new coach, new program for him, I mean, you're transferring your it's the same quarterback he had, but you're transferring your quarterback in. It's a new kind of system for him if he switches the system up, depending on what he has. I don't know. I'm just not completely bought in on him yet. I think that they have to prove to me that they are a playoff team. And I agree with James on Miami being a contender. Added Mario Cristobal, the offense coordinator for Michigan. I mean, it was just huge, and their recruiting classes that they have coming in are even better. I definitely see them being a contender coming, if not this year, I mean, definitely coming up in the near future.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
So for Michigan State, what do you guys? What their record wasn't too good at one point last year, right?
It wasn't. It really wasn't. I think before the final stretch of the season.
I think their record was deceiving last year of what they actually were.
Yeah.
What they end up going? Was it like 10-3 or something?
I don't know. I thought they lost more than 3 games. Maybe I'm wrong.
I'm not sure.
I just remember seeing like they were not very good last year, and then all of a sudden, kind of towards the end of the year, they were better. But I don't know. What do you guys think about them at 14? Do you think did they get any new talent that should?
11-2 last year.
Oh, they won 11-2.
Wow.
Wow.
I guess I was wrong then, but what talent do they have?
I know on the defensive side, their secondary is pretty experienced.
Yeah, I actually think they're returning quite a bit.
Yeah, Xavier Henderson.
Yeah.
He's coming back, I believe, for his senior year.
Is that the running back or?
No, that is their safety.
Who was their running back? That was a monster.
Walker. He was the draft.
I gotcha.
Yeah, I definitely think that they have a chance of competing. I definitely think losing Walker, that was a big part of their offense.
Honestly, Michigan State to me, I mean, Mel Tucker, he really turned them around in a year, which is, it's good for the sport because, it's really good for the Big Ten with Michigan State being good, obviously. But, I think their record was deceiving last year. Nebraska should have beat them at Michigan State. Michigan had that game won and then choked at the very end.
Right, I remember that.
Yeah. Ohio State beat them by 50.
Yeah, that's right, because weren't they undefeated at one point? I remember now. They were undefeated or something going into our game.
Oh, you're right.
And then we just blew them out of the water.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah, and Pittsburgh should have beat them in the bowl game until, Kenny Pickett sat out. But their second string quarterback was playing really good. Then he got hurt, and then I think their record was deceiving of what they were last year.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely seems like they could be turning around. So I'm okay with number 14.
Okay.
I'm not real sold on them.
Yeah.
I would say the biggest surprise to me in the top 25 is Tennessee not being ranked.
Mm.
Yes, I agree.
I
I definitely think Tennessee should be in there. I think Kentucky's going to be a solid squad this year. Will Levis coming back.
Yeah, absolutely.
They had that running back that went for 1,300 this year.
Yeah. What about Penn State and Iowa though too? I feel like they should be ranked too.
Right.
Both of them are returning a lot of talent.
I definitely think by the end of it, Penn State will be ranked.
Again, this is the coaches poll, so.
Yeah, this is just coaches. I definitely think Penn State should be ranked.
Yeah, like I said, that's my biggest shock is Tennessee not being ranked. Having a top quarterback in the nation. They definitely had a top 5 offense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be pretty solid this year.
Even BYU. I think BYU should be a top 25 team.
What about Coastal Carolina?
I'm not too sold on them.
And then, their head coach, they've had 10-win seasons the last 2 seasons, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not going to stop until Ball State's ranked in the top 10.
I think you're going to wait a while.
How are we feeling about LSU?
I think I'm still questionable on them just because what they did last year. I definitely don't think their record shows of how good of a ball club they were. They just couldn't close out close games.
Yeah, hell, they could beat Alabama last year.
Yeah, they just couldn't close it out.
Yeah.
I definitely think that they're going to end up being a top 25 team.
Yeah, I agree. They've got a legendary coach. He's never won the big game, but it's just his chance.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so do you guys – this is kind of going to be the end of it. Do you guys have any last, thoughts about the whole thing? We talked about, obviously, the Heisman candidates. We talked about just the top teams and our sleepers and the playoff runs. Do you guys want to do this again? We can do it, after the season starts.
Yeah, you want to make it a weekly thing where recap the week.
Yeah, I don't care. I think that at least until I don't know when the preseason games are. Is there even preseason?
No, not going.
Then why do they have a preseason thing?
Just preseason rankings.
Well, I guess then we'll just do it week 1 then.
you mind if we give prediction of who we think is going to win each conference in our top 4?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, go ahead, Chase.
So I definitely think Alabama is winning the SEC. I'm taking Ohio State out of the Big Ten. I'm gonna take Clemson out of the ACC. Utah out of the Pac-12. I'm gonna take Oklahoma this year out of the Big 12. I just think that quarterback over there is gonna be able to do something pretty stellar.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see, who else do we have here?
That was fun, wasn't it? Yeah.
Big 12, Big 10, SEC. Yeah, that's pretty much the main ones.
All right, do you want me to get my 5 now before we do top 4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going Ohio State out of the Big 10, Alabama out of the SEC. I'm going to go Miami out of the ACC. I'm going to go to Utah out of the Pac-12, and I'm going to go Baylor out of the Big 12.
All right, that's solid.
Nice.
All right, what's your top 4, Chase? Playoff.
Top 4. I think I'm going to go Alabama, and Ohio State, 1 or 2 interchangeable. Just it depends on how the chairman see them. I think I don't know, man. 3 and 4 is just going to be a toss-up this year.
I have one.
I think Utah will be the number 4 team in the country. I just think they win the Pac-12 out, and I think they're a solid ball team this year. And I might have to go. Man, 4 or 3 is going to be tough. I just think that spot's really just open. I definitely see Utah as a top 4 team in the country this year, though. Yeah, I only have 3 solid ones.
Not sold on a 4th?
I'm not sold on the 4th one yet.
All right. So I'm going to go number 1, Ohio State, just because of everything we're returning. I mean, I think we're returning 80% production from last year.
Yeah.
And Alabama, number 2, obviously, got the greatest coach of all time, returning Heisman winner, greatest defensive player in college football. I'm also going to go Utah because of everything they're returning, great coach. And also I'm going to go, dude, you're right, this shit it is tough. It's 1 and 2, I feel like, are so separated from everybody else this year.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go, shit, man.
I mean, when was the last time that it was so top-heavy with the top 2 teams?
Yeah, preseason, I really don't know. It's
I couldn't tell you.
It's I'm just going to go out on the limb and say, I'm just going to go Baylor just because they were one of my conference champions. And they were real close to making it last year. I think they ended the season 5th or something. So
I think they were 5th or 6th.
They might have been 1st. They might have been. But yeah, I'm gonna go Baylor, Utah, Ohio State, Alabama.
All right, well, the beauty of this whole thing is we can see what happens week to week, and we're going to have documentation of what you guys chose.
Yeah, how shitty our predictions were.
Well, hey, since you're doing it week to week, honestly, since it's a preseason, it's the preseason guess.
Yeah.
If you guys want, you guys can do it again once week 1 you see how these teams are actually playing. I mean, even that, just week to week, you're gonna see.
We should add a knee-jerk reaction after each week.
Okay.
Segment, knee-jerk reaction segment.
I mean, what is that?
like all this team went nuts this week, so they're gonna make.
Oh, I
the
gotcha.
playoffs. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, literally any segment. Like, we went long today compared to the freaking Jordan debate.
Dude, I'm saying I could do this stuff all day.
40 minutes. Well, I'm cool with it too. I'm definitely the least knowledgeable person. That's why I'm just kind of I'm just organizing it. So we got the two brains that are on the line. All right. Well, we'll definitely do this again. I guess we'll do it week 1 then.
Sounds good.
Cool.
All right. Well, I'll see you guys. Thanks for being on the show. See ya. All right, guys. So that kind of wraps up this episode for today. This was a really fun one. That was James Kirk again and Chase Lilly. Chase Lilly hasn't been on the channel yet. James Kirk was from the GOAT debate from the first one. Let us know if you guys want more of this. I mean, obviously we're going to do more of these. We just said week 1. We're probably going to do the next episode of the college football series. And this channel was honestly originally supposed to be for basketball purposes, but we decided that we're just gonna have fun with it. What's the point? We just created the channel. We might as well just have fun with it, and we love all sports. So we're just gonna talk about all of it. We'll even do the NFL too if you guys want. So, anyways, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. If you made it this way through. Go ahead and leave a like, subscribe if you want. Excuse me. Wow. And I really appreciate the support, guys. All right. I'll talk to you later. See ya.